If a color doesn't have a name, can we still see it? Until very recently, nobody saw, or even heard of, the color blue. For the ancient Greeks, blue wasn't a color at all. William Gladstone, a 4 times Prime Minister, was a huge fan of Homer, who wrote Iliad and the Odyssey. These 2 epic poems are considered the foundation of all ancient Greek literature, and much of modern literature is in some ways derivative of these works. Gladstone was reading the Odyssey and noticed Homer described the wine-dark sea, not blue, not green, but wine-dark. This description got Gladstone interested in other ways that Homer used color to describe things. Homer described honey as being green, and sheep as being violet in color. Gladstone wondered if Homer was colorblind and saw blue as maybe something else. So he went through thousands of pages of Homer's writing and counted his references to color. Black is mentioned almost 200 times. White, about 100 times. Red is mentioned 13 times, yellow and green fewer than 10 times, but blue, 0. So Gladstone looked through other ancient Greek writing. Nothing was ever described as being blue, and Gladstone's initial thought was maybe the Greeks saw color differently than other people. Researchers analyzed ancient texts from all over the world. The Quran, the Hebrew Bible, ancient Chinese, Hindu, Icelandic, no blue. Not once. These ancient texts reference colors with pretty much the same proportion as Homer's epics. Black and white, a lot, red a few times, yellow and green, very little. But blue never appears at all, and human eyes are the same now as they were back then. So why couldn't they see blue? All languages evolve in their own way. But, almost universally, names for colors emerge in the same order. First, a language creates the words for black and white. The next color is always red. After red, it's either yellow or green. The last color to appear in every major language is blue, and this makes sense. If you think about it, how often does blue appear in nature? We see black and white everywhere. Blood is red, so humans are familiar with that color. But what in nature is blue? Only 10% of flowers are blue, so pretty rare, but even more rare in animals, birds, mammals, reptiles. None of them produce a blue pigment. Yes, there are a couple of blue butterflies, but that's not pigment. They're actually brown. The color of blue is created because of the way their wings are structured at the microscopic level. It's the same with the blue feathers of peacocks, blue jays, blue toads, even people with blue eyes, but that blue isn't pigment. It's the microscopic structure of the eye, or the feathers of the skin that scatters the light in a way that appears blue. And since blue is so rare in nature, most ancient cultures didn't see blue as a separate color, but rather a shade of green. Moreover, languages are efficient. Why bother making up a word that you hardly ever need? The ocean wasn't blue. It was a shade of green. The sky wasn't blue. It was light black. Blue finally emerges as its own color when the Egyptians invented a way to produce a blue dye. Suddenly the light black sky was blue. The Nile River, green for thousands of years, finally became blue, as the Egyptian blue dye made its way around the ancient world. Languages evolved to accommodate this new color. But before that, nothing. So, unless you have a word to describe the color, it becomes really difficult for humans to perceive it. And there's proof of this even today. Ancient cultures, like the Himba, have no word for blue. To Himba, blue is just a shade of green. They have unique words, and whole categories of words, for many shades of green. Because of this, the people are already primed to recognize them. But since they don't have a word for blue, they know it's different. But they can't really explain why. The word pink doesn't appear in English until about the 13th century. Before then, pink was red, A lighter shade of red, sure, but still just red. And if you tell someone an object is like red without being more specific, that color will be different for everybody. And scientists have learned that until a word is created to describe the color, people have a difficult time actually defining it.